This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
And the time right now is 4:27 here. It is Tuesday morning, and thanks for joining us here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey. We have several stories to get to before we get into our top stories today. We do want to start things off with a violent night here in the Circle City. You're looking at scene video from overnight from a shooting. Here is what we know at this hour. 2 people are dead and others in critical condition after a stabbing. This took place on the west side. The situation started around 9:45 last night. This is near the Carriage House West Apartments, 16th and Lyndhurst. When officers arrived, they found 3 people suffering from what appeared to be stab or puncture wounds. An adult woman was pronounced dead at the scene. Another adult woman and man were taken to the hospital, the man later dying. The second female remains in critical condition this morning. Police say 2 witnesses were detained for questioning. We are waiting to learn more about what led up to this incident, and of course, we'll keep you updated. We do want to take a turn right now to our forecast. Todd Clausen is standing by from home. Todd, what can we expect as we head outside for our Tuesday? So far, I think it seems pretty chilly out there.
It is chilly. The frost advisory is still in place across much of central Indiana, Lauren, and temperatures are sitting in the 30s now anywhere you go, with the exception of Lafayette at 45. But that thermometer's been running a little warm, I think, the past couple of days, so might need to be recalibrated. 36 in Indy right now, as well as Bloomington. 35 is the current temperature in Muncie, and Logansport sitting at 34. The Storm Team 6 radar in the center of your screen completely quiet, and that's the way it remains throughout the entire day. So yesterday we were stuck in the 50s. Today it's slightly warmer. That's because we get a little more in the way of sunshine in the forecast today. So instead of mostly cloudy, we'll call it partly sunny throughout the day today. But that high of 60 still below normal by about 11 degrees. Our normal high is 71. So we're slowly trending in the right direction. We'll take a big step towards those normal temperatures by the end of the week. There's a trade-off, though. More on that, Lauren, coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look now at the latest COVID numbers here in the state of Indiana. These are updated again every day around the lunch hour. So these are the latest numbers we got yesterday around noon. We had 32 new deaths reported, bringing the total to more than 1,400 in our state. Yesterday, they reported more than 500 new cases in Indiana, bringing the total number of cases to more than 24,000 since this whole thing began. We also can tell you that more than 146,000 Hoosiers have been tested for the coronavirus so far. We want to go to another story, and this is looking forward into the next steps here into COVID-19, and that is antibody testing. People are starting to get those to see if they have the antibodies in their system showing that they had COVID-19 or they were exposed to it. So our Kelsey Anderson is going to introduce us to a woman who was so sick she was in the hospital, but they couldn't confirm she had COVID-19. The antibody test now revealing something else. So we'll have that story, plus news, weather, and traffic coming up on Good Morning Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 4:30 here on Good Morning Indiana, a triple stabbing leaves 2 people dead and another in critical condition. We'll have the very latest on that investigation. Plus, Mayor Hogsett and IMPD Chief Randall Taylor are responding to calls from the community for more transparency and accountability. This morning, they're planning to restore trust in the department.
We have a responsibility to protect Hoosiers from this disease.
And the state taking another step forward in slowing the spread of COVID-19. Working for you this morning, the details on the new program that will help you know whether you've been exposed to the coronavirus. But before we get to those stories today, we want to thank you for joining us here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey. Todd Clausen is reporting from home for us this morning. And Todd, it is chilly. I know you haven't had to step outside yet today, but just stay down there in your basement because it's not the best morning here for the month of May.
Hey, I'll be down here for the next 5 hours, Lauren, so we don't have to worry about that. We're not opening that door until these temperatures start to warm up just a little bit, and eventually they will get there as we'll trend in the right direction, but we are dealing with temperatures in the 30s across the area this morning. 36 in Indianapolis as well as Bloomington, and 36 a pretty common number. Greenfield and Sullivan as well. It's a little cooler to the north. 34 in Peru as well as Tipton. A frost advisory is in place across the area for almost every county, except exception to the south and west. This will expire this morning at about 9 o'clock. And after that, we'll see our temperatures warm. And we're going to have a decent amount of sunshine today. More than yesterday, but not completely sunny. But we will remain dry. That rain that you see there near St. Louis, that is going to stay down to our south. So it's a day you'll be able to get outside and enjoy the sunshine a little more, as well as the warmer temperatures with that high rate around 60 degrees. But we're into the 70s by the end of the week. More on that, Lauren, for you coming up in just a little bit.
Thank you, Todd. Let's take a look right now at traffic. This is I-65 at St. Clair Street, a view near the downtown area. You can see traffic here moving between the north and south splits is traveling up to speed. We still have I-70 eastbound here closed between the north split and over to 465 on the east side. So as you're traveling through downtown here on the interstate, you will notice some orange barrels out there, keeping you out of the lanes to get onto I-70. Those lanes are scheduled to reopen tomorrow, so we'll keep you updated if that is still the case, or let you know if anything gets pushed back, but the westbound lanes will remain closed for another couple weeks. New from overnight, 2 people are dead. Another is in critical condition after a stabbing. This took place on the city's west side. The situation started around 9:45 last night at the Carriage House West Apartments near 16th and Lyndhurst. When officers arrived at the scene, they found 3 people suffering from what appeared to be stab or puncture wounds. An adult woman was pronounced dead at the scene. Another adult woman and man were taken to the hospital, and that man later died. The second female remains in critical condition this morning. Police say 2 witnesses were detained for questioning. We're waiting to learn more about what led to the incident, as well as the victims' identities. Today, IMPD and Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogshead will talk about police reform in the city. The mayor's office says the update is in response to calls from the community. This comes less than a week after 2 deadly shootings involving IMPD. Officers shot and killed a 19-year-old man early Thursday morning. And what investigators must believe may have been a planned ambush, I should say. On Wednesday, an officer shot and killed 21-year-old Sean Reed after a chase. Demonstrations were held for several days after the shooting, calling for justice. IMPD Chief Randall Taylor responded in a press conference the next day, promising transparency.
I'm infuriated by this because I feel like this happened to my son or my brother. You know what I mean? So I'm so steamed. I couldn't sleep last night. I have the right to be a dumb kid and make a stupid decision without dying.
We need answers. We need answers.
I can promise you that we'll run a fair investigation. I'm always willing to listen to family members and their concern. I don't have all the answers right now. I hope to get them as the investigation goes, but I can promise the community that we will be transparent.
Today's update will not give specific updates on these cases, but will focus on ongoing police reforms. It's scheduled to begin at 10:30, and we will live stream it on the RTV6 app and also on the Facebook page. Moving now to the latest information on the coronavirus pandemic here in Indiana. Governor Eric Holcomb is scaling back his daily coronavirus briefings as life and business in the Hoosier State is beginning to move a little closer to normal. Holcomb announced yesterday that the briefings will now be done Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. He said while his team is still working daily behind the scenes, the goal is to provide Hoosiers with substantive updates and significant news that needs to be shared. That plan could always change.
Now, having said that, if there is significant news that needs to be shared before Wednesday of this week, we'll call an audible and we'll be here tomorrow at 2:30. Same thing on Thursday. Same thing on Saturday or Sunday for that matter.
Holcomb also said the task force will continue meeting on a regular basis and posting updates daily. You can find information on coronavirus.in.gov. We do have a link to that site on our website, theindychannel.com, and also on the RTV6 app. Taking a look at the numbers now, the State Department of Health reporting 511 new COVID-19 cases on Monday. There are now more than 24,000 positive coronavirus cases reported in our state. 32 additional deaths were also reported, meaning 1,411 Hoosiers have now died from COVID-19. 146,688 Hoosiers have been tested for the virus to date. That's about a 17% positivity rate for those being tested. State Health Commissioner Dr. Christina Bach said that the increase in testing also means increased contact tracing. This will allow the state to respond more quickly to outbreaks and allow Hoosiers to know if they've been exposed to COVID-19.
It's how we help you protect your loved ones, the ones that you work with, your neighbors, and other individuals that I know you don't want to also become ill with this disease.
A state vendor has already hired 325 people to work as contact tracers, with 500 expected to be on the job by the end of the month. So far, 285 people from 21 counties who tested positive for COVID-19 have been identified, and contact tracing for those individuals is underway. Dr. Bach says the privacy of diagnosed patients will be protected and no personal information will be shared with others. This morning, unprecedented new safety protocols are in place at the White House as the coronavirus pandemic makes its way to the West Wing. Meanwhile, President Trump is now downplaying the need for increased nationwide testing as the state continues to slowly reopen. ABC's Inez de la Cotera is in Washington now with the latest.
Overnight, the White House making the historic decision to separate the president and vice president.
We can talk on the phone.
The temporary separation coming after a Pence aide and one of the president's personal valets tested positive for COVID-19 last week. As the White House adopts new safety measures, the vice president spent Monday away from the Oval Office wearing a mask while working in a neighboring building. 80,000 Americans now dead from COVID-19, but the president declaring victory.
We have met the moment, and we have prevailed. We've prevailed on testing is what I'm referring to.
But when pressed further about testing.
You've said twice here today that every American who wants a test can get a test.
Yes.
That's not the case. 1.9 million tests per day is far short of every American that wants a test.
I will say, just from listening and hearing like you do, we all do, not everybody should get a test because they have to have certain things.
As the country slowly reopens, health experts warning more testing is still needed. At least 45 states now easing restrictions. Parts of upstate New York restarting construction, manufacturing, and curbside retail this week.
It's an exciting new phase. We're all anxious to get back to work.
New York City is extending its shutdown until at least June. In California, Tesla restarting its assembly line in defiance of county shutdown orders. In Naples, Florida, beaches closed all over again after scenes like this emerged. Beachgoers there not practicing social distancing.
Today, Dr. Anthony Fauci and the heads of the CDC and FDA will testify via video conference to a Senate committee. The New York Times reporting Fauci is expected to say Americans will experience needless suffering and death if the country reopens prematurely. Inez de la Cotera, ABC News, Washington.
Regardless it's a union job and regardless that it's good money and stuff, it's not worth my life.
A man who works at a meatpacking plant in central Indiana says he's not going back in just yet. The Tyson plant in Logansport closed at the end of April after hundreds of employees tested positive for the coronavirus. It reopened last week with reassurances from the state and the company that those safety measures are now in place. But Gary Whitehouse, a plant employee, tells us he doesn't think any of that will do any good if the stations are set up like they were before the closure. That's why he decided he's not going back to work.
I wasn't going to take a chance at getting it, and even if I don't catch it and I'm just a carrier, I'm making them all, capable of catching it, and I couldn't do it. The ones that get affected the worst are the elderly and the children. Well, I'm around elderly people, I'm around children every day, and I'm going to be 50 next year, so it's not worth it.
In addition to testing all of its employees, Tyson has installed additional workstation barriers. More hand sanitizer is available to workers, and the company is also screening employees before they're allowed inside. The Logansport facility has a mobile health clinic that's also being used to control and prevent the spread of the virus. Also in Logansport, a hospital hit hard by COVID-19 has received a supply of an experimental drug to fight the virus. Remdesivir is being used on a very limited basis to treat coronavirus patients. Logansport Memorial Hospital says the hospital formed a team of doctors to determine who should get the drug and how it should be administered. Cass County has a population of about 38,000 people. More than 1,500 residents have tested positive for COVID-19. Most of those cases are among the workers at the Tyson meat plant. Now, the man behind the video that led to the arrest of Ahmaud Arbery's alleged killer is speaking out what he's now saying about this incident. And the brother of the pilot who was flying Kobe Bryant's helicopter when it crashed has filed a countersuit against Bryant's widows. Straight ahead, why he's blaming the victim for the tragic accidents. Todd.
And Lauren, much of the country is well below normal temperature-wise, stretching all the way from Boston through Indy to Chicago, back to Denver. But there is some warmth down to the south, and that's eventually going to start to head our way this week. We'll have the timeline of not only the warmer temperatures, but the return of rain as well coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast. The time now is 4:41. This is Good Morning Indiana right here on RTV6.
Days from 4:30 to 7.
Welcome back. The Justice Department is determining whether the deadly shooting of Ahmaud Arbery should be charged as a federal hate crime. Little seemed to take place for more than 2 months after this incident, but that all changed after a video came to light. The man who recorded Arbery's death is now speaking out, and John Lawrence has the latest.
The investigation into Ahmaud Arbery's shooting death was drastically altered by William Roddy Bryan.
If there wasn't a tape, then we wouldn't know what happened. Or y'all wouldn't. I would.
Bryan recorded the video that shows the confrontation that led to Arbery's death in South Georgia in February.
I hope that it, in the end, brings justice to the family and peace to the family.
Less than 3 days after the video was posted online, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation announced the arrests of Travis McMichael and his father, Greg. The McMichaels are facing murder and aggravated assault charges. The case has sparked protests and calls for justice, even reaching the White House.
I'm speaking to many people about it. I saw the picture of him in his tuxedo. It was so beautiful. I mean, he looks like a wonderful young guy.
I am very sorry to the family. I pray for him every night, as well as my own family.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Well, the brother of the pilot who was flying Kobe Bryant's helicopter when it crashed is responding to the wrongful death lawsuit filed by Bryant's widow, Vanessa. He claims the passengers knew and accepted the risks involved in flying, so they were the ones at fault for their deaths. All 9 people on board the helicopter died when it crashed outside of Los Angeles in January. The NTSB's report found no evidence of engine failure or mechanical issues. An investigation is ongoing. A court conference on the suit is scheduled for June. Boxing's comeback culture may have reached its peak, and we're all ear for it. Former heavyweight champion Mike Tyson is hinting at a possible comeback after a 15-year absence from the ring. Tyson shared a montage of footage from his recent training sessions on Instagram Monday. The video comes just 1 week after rival Evander Holyfield announced his return to the ring. The boxing legends, who are now in their 50s, fought twice during the 90s, including the infamous 1997 bout in which Tyson was disqualified for biting Holyfield's ear. The 57-year-old says proceeds from a potential rematch with Tyson would go to charity. All right, Todd, we'll have to wait and see. What can we expect as people are heading out the door this Tuesday? I don't like what's in the monitor behind you, so tell us it's not today.
I'm done with the freeze warnings. I am done with the frost advisories, and hopefully we get them out of the way this morning. Hopefully this is the last morning we have to deal with it. Definitely the last morning we'll have to deal with it, at least this week. I can guarantee that. So it is chilly. Temperatures are sitting right now in the 30s in most locations. Lafayette 45 is an outlier, but I think that thermometer is a little broken up there. 36 in Indy, as well as Bloomington, as well as Greenfield. 35 is the current temperature up in the Muncie area and over towards Richmond. So skies are mainly clear this morning. You notice one little band of cloud cover from Lafayette to Indy back down towards the Greensburg area. Otherwise, we are going to be dealing with dry conditions today. That rain that's near St. Louis, that is going to bypass us to the south. So that is good news for our forecast going forward. And here's how it plays out for you hour by hour. We'll kind of toggle back and forth between partly to mostly cloudy skies today. But with the added sunshine, we're looking at a temperature that is going to be right around 60 degrees for your high. Yesterday, we only got up to 49, so it's about 10 degrees warmer today with the additional sunshine. It's not as breezy today either, so that's going to result in the overall feel today being a little nicer than it was yesterday. This evening, sunset 8:51. Temperatures will be in the 50s with increasing clouds, but we do remain dry this evening. And then here are the low temperatures overnight tonight. Instead of talking about lows that'll be down into the mid-30s. We're looking at lows for the most part that will be in the 40s across the area, with some slightly cooler temperatures off towards the east. And then for the day tomorrow, once again, right around 60 to 63 degrees, a little more in the way of cloud cover though throughout the day tomorrow. And then you notice late in the day, we are going to start to bring in some rain by 11 p.m. And that is going to start a stretch of weather that, one, is going to be very mild. That is the good news. But two, also very unsettled. There'll be a daily chance of rain while the temperatures are in the 70s. So that starts on Thursday and goes all the way through Monday. It looks as of right now, Friday is potentially going to be the wettest day of that bunch, Lauren. So that's kind of the trade-off that we'll have to deal with. I wish it could be 77 and completely sunny. Just not going to be the case. But after these chilly days, I think most people will take 77 and the chance of some scattered showers and storms throughout the day.
All right, I'll take it, Todd. Thank you so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic as you are heading out the door at this early hour. This is on the near east side of town, I-70 at Rural Street and Keystone Avenue. This is all weather permitting, but we are scheduled to have the eastbound lanes reopen tomorrow, so we'll keep you updated on that. You can see both directions of I-70 are closed right now. The only workers and vehicles out there you'll notice throughout the daytime hours are construction crews. So again, we'll keep you updated on if those eastbound lanes will reopen. The westbound lanes scheduled to be closed for a little bit longer as crews continue their work there. At 4:50, Major League Baseball could be the first American team sport to return, but with a twist. The season was supposed to start back in March, but it was delayed due to the coronavirus. So on Monday, team owners approved a proposal by Commissioner Rob Manfred to start the season in July. Spring training would begin in early to mid-June. Games would be played in home stadiums without fans in the stands. The season would consist of 82 games. That's about half the traditional 162. The Players Association still has to agree to terms. An MLB spokesperson says that the proposal will be presented to the Players Association today. We'll take some time to thank a nurse you know today. It's International Nurses Day. The day honors the tremendous sacrifices these healthcare workers make day in and day out. May 12th became International Nurses Day to honor Florence Nightingale's birthday. She's known as a pioneer in her field and the founder of modern nursing. Nurses have taken a stronger leadership role than in the past decades, taking over many responsibility that used to be reserved for physicians. These days, many patients get diagnosed and treated by a nurse without ever seeing a doctor. International Nurses Day also marks the end of National Nurses Week here in the United States. Well, Hendricks County Town is letting businesses take over its Courthouse Square. Coming up, our Brad Brown takes us down to Danville, where an iconic cafe is ready to welcome back customers with a new setup. And coming up, all new at 5, a woman who survived COVID-19 but wasn't able to confirm her diagnosis until 2 months after getting sick. Our Kelsey Anderson has her story. It's 4:51 on your Tuesday. Stick around. We'll be right back.
RTV6 is working for you.
Welcome back. Restaurants all over the Hoosier State are starting to welcome customers back into their dining rooms, but not without some big adjustments. Our Brad Brown visited one of Hendricks County's favorite spots for a closer look.
In the heart of Hendricks County is the Courthouse Square in Danville. Businesses around here are gradually coming to life as the state's phases continue to progress. At the Mayberry Cafe, they've been doing carryout for several weeks. Today, they're back to welcoming customers inside.
We felt a lot of love here, yeah. A lot of people came in, they were just trying to help us out and try and get us through this, and we really appreciate all that.
For 30 years, the Mayberry has been serving up plates full of nostalgia. But for the past couple of months, something had been missing.
The personal contact's been hard. Like I made a comment about just hugs. So your nature is to hug somebody, whether it's a shoulder hug or people you haven't seen in a while. So that part's been hard, and not seeing the faces that we're used to seeing as frequently.
The tables are a bit more spread out. The booths, they'll use every other one. Masks for the staff as well.
It's definitely a reset. I was just sharing with the lady that we bought masks from. I said it's kind of like learning our business all over again because there's new parameters.
Danville city officials have let the Mayberry set some tables up outside. Same for some other businesses. More options to keep their customers spread out.
Everybody seems to be pretty upbeat that everybody's helping each other out.
Otherwise, they're ready to get back to this new level of normal.
There's been, I think, a real community support and people come together. I don't know if it's American way or what, but I see a lot of people coming together and standing by each other.
Christine says things are a little slow to get going here this first day of the week. They suspect business will pick up toward Friday and Saturday. They've been doing some more business dinner and weekends over the past few weeks anyway. Much will probably be the same for restaurants all over the area and eventually within Marion County as they start to reopen. And we see the process of these restaurants start to take steps forward going forward. Working for you in Hendricks County, Brad Brown, RTV6.
All right, thank you, Brad. The temperatures today a little warmer than yesterday. Not sure if it's quite ready for some outdoor seating at some of these places yet, but we'll kind of get there as temperatures warm up into the 70s later in the week. The trade-off is once we do get into the 70s, you see we have numerous opportunities for showers and thunderstorms. Friday's probably the wettest day of the bunch, but today and tomorrow will be dry with some sunshine and highs in the 60s. The time now is 4:57. Stay with us. We're back in just a couple minutes.